Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to Farming Simulator 19, and welcome back to Geiselsberg Seasons. I love it. I love it. This game, man, this sim, something about it. So it is day 2. We only did a couple of things yesterday, day 1, and I'm going to make an effort to always start the next episode on the following day because we're going to need to, off camera, I'm going to need to speed through some things with seasons because seasons definitely restricts you in a lot of ways. I know a lot of YouTubers will not use seasons for their farm sim videos because of the way it slows the game down. But I'm going to go ahead and risk it. We're going to do it our way. But I will need to speed some things up because if I don't, it'll take us forever to work on this map. Now I will, in fact, let's get in the habit of doing this now. I do want to expose my finances to you. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll try to make an effort to do this also every episode. Just kind of scroll through here and keep myself honest. So we did not cheat in any money. All we did was sell all the land that we owned and all the equipment that we had, and then we bought significantly less equipment. All we've got now, a couple of tractors, this little skid steer loader, and off camera, well, we'll circle around to that in a second. First thing we need to do is take care of our animals. We're going to hop in here. Wow, that's a great frame rate. Are you seeing that? Now, some of that is because there's no foliage on the trees. There's no leaves or anything, and that takes a lot of polys off the... let's back out of here. That takes a lot of polys off the map. So you will notice in seasons in the springtime, this part of the year, the game will run faster, and it can be a little misleading because it's like, oh, what did I get new drivers? What's happening? But it's just the absence of those polys on screen. But regardless, great frame rate right now. Always happy when it works out that way. So off camera for this skid steer loader, I did get, we had pallet forks. We used those. We just jammed them into a bale. And what I did off camera was I got proper bale spikes, as you can see we have on here right now, carefully. Where's my other bale? It's over there. We got proper bale spikes, and I also got a bucket because we're going to use that to clean up after our very sloppy sheep. This skid steer loader I think works best because this area for the sheep is so small. And I've said this, I know I've said this before, I'll probably say it again at some point. But there we go. Oy, those are bright inside. As big as this map is sort of geographically, it's actually a pretty small map in terms of how it plays. So areas like this little shed that we're in right now, barn, whatever you want to call it, it's sort of hard to get around in here. So I think this skid steer loader works the best in terms of what it is that we needed to do. Yeah? Did it take it? This is a bit perplexing to me, and I think it has... Yeah, it did take it, but it didn't consume the bale. So there is a bale trigger of sorts, but it does not consume the entire bale and overfill. And it did before. I don't know if the map maker did something when they brought the map into Seasons, or if Seasons itself does something that prevents the bale from being consumed entirely. But no matter. So we will drop this off here. Off camera, you might have noticed we had 9 sheep, I think, at the end of the episode. I went ahead and bought 91 more. So we have 100 sheep. They reproduce, clip through the wall. They reproduce extremely slowly, and I'll show you that also as soon as we get them cleaned up. I think they aren't going to lamb again until next spring, which is realistic, right? And that's the thing we say we want in Farm Sim. And then when you get it, it's like, oh God, that's so slow. But I like it. That's kind of how I want the game to play. Right. So I did buy, we have 100 sheep now, and Seasons also. If I tell you things that you know about Seasons, clip through the wall. If I tell you things that you know about Seasons, it is only because some people may not know about Seasons, and I don't want to just sort of rush ahead and then you have no idea what I'm talking about. So seasons, if you don't know, it essentially tries to recreate the actual annual cycle of animals as far as what they do and when they do it. And even the fact that we were able to buy 91 sheep, they are they're only a couple €100 a piece, which is consistent with what sheep cost in real life. Rather than base game, they're like €2,500 or something. You wouldn't pay that for a full-grown beef cow in the United States. So those sorts of things are balanced out better in seasons. Now, to be fair, I think Giants, really, I don't know where the triggers are on this map. I did that constantly down at the other barn, down at the dairy barn. I'll clean that up off camera, but I can't seem to find the triggers, and very often on a map, it will not let you dump where it's not supposed to dump, but this map, it does, so I'll need to clean that up. But regardless, we got it off the floor, so we will have no problems with reduced productivity due to cleanliness. So that is done. They need water. Do they not? Yeah, they do. So let's get them watered. And then, door. There we go. And then we'll talk about and we'll think about what it is that we want to do next with this map. And I'll tell you what I'm thinking. So we have the 100 sheep, and I don't know how much money they're going to make us this year. I have the price, the economy set to hard, and I want to play very realistically, but still have a good time. We own the one big grass meadow out to the east, looking straight ahead. It's out that way beyond those trees. Then we have the smaller one that is sort of directly behind us. That will make plenty of grass. We don't have access to a BGA right now. So we would most likely need to do what we did the first time we played this map, which is bale and wrap. Now with seasons, those bales won't be fermented instantly as they are with base game. We'll need to wait a few days for them to be ready to go. Hang on, let me pull over here and show you what I did off camera. Set the brake. So I did get these 2 tanks. Man, finding a place to put things on this map where, first off, they'll fit without destroying the terrain, and where the game will allow you to place them, and then also where they look like they belong there, is not easy. Even with the Place Anywhere mod, there are not a lot of places to put things where they look right and where the game will accept them. I put 2 of these. I really didn't need to, because they all tie into the silo system on the map. So as soon as you place one of these, you have access to all your grains that you have in storage. But I still like the idea of one for fertilizer and one for seed. We don't need to, but yeah. And you saw I put the Nokian tires on our little Deutz-Fahr. And I did that because all the tires on our trailers are Nokian, because these are going to spend a lot of their time on the road. And I think that makes sense. A little quieter, and I believe they last a little bit longer as well. At least when you use them on the road. If you run a regular tractor tire on the road, they wear down pretty quickly. Is that what I've heard? That could be a thing. So, what the hell was I talking about? Oh, we have those two grass fields, and I think the best thing to do with them, we don't need them to feed our sheep, who I think are eating from the pasture itself, and I didn't see in the notes specifically that this map maker has added the grazing mod to the revision, but it seems as though they're eating from the pasture, and that's fine. We just need to sort of top off their food, but we have plenty of fields to do that with. And you know what? Let's just refill this thing, and right. So if we do use it all, then we don't have to go back. We'll make one trip. We'll fill it. We'll go water the sheep, and that way we know that it's going to go absolutely to 100% and be completely full. So we'll have plenty of grass to keep our sheep alive, and we'll sell the rest as silage bales. That's the most money that we can make just with grass, not having access to a BGA. But then I got to thinking. Hang on. Set the brake, and let's take a look at the map. What if I told you, right? We have 380,000 euro, I think, 320,000. This is 117. This is 113. So we could buy these two, right? We could buy these two fields, and this would be grass all through here. That's one option. The other option is we could lease logging equipment, and we could log this forest in the center here as we did, which I know last time was good for about 400,000 euro on hard economy. And leasing would be, I want to say, about 30,000 euro for all that equipment. So we could, right, make a nice little profit there. We could do both. We could log that forest during the spring and use the money that we make to buy those fields without taking out any loan and plant them all as grass. So we've got some options, and I'm curious like what direction I want to take the map in. And again, the thing about seasons is it really slows you down, and it really gives you an opportunity to sort of think and, you know, very carefully reflect on what it is that you want to do and what your goals are. So I think maybe first season we'll focus on logging and then getting those fields put in as grass. I think that works. I think that could be a viable direction to take the farm in, at least for the first season. Because we're not going to make any money from wool this year. I don't think. We might make a little, but certainly not enough to pay for the 100 sheep that we got, which were, let's say 300 euro a piece, just average to keep the math simple, 30 grand. I don't think we're going to sell $30,000 of wool in our first season. Need to be careful not to hit these little wires that are holding this thing up. They're pretty hard to see. So we'll probably pay for the sheep, but we won't make any profit. And the reason we have money in the bank is because we sold all our equipment. Now, I'm okay with leasing equipment a lot more than I have in the past. And there's a couple reasons for that. One is it's a lot cheaper. Again, particularly with seasons, say 400,000 for a combine harvester, a great big one like we were using down south. That is, at 40,000 euro to rent, that is 10 full seasons of rental you pay to buy it. And 10 seasons with seasons, that's a long time. And it's like 360 game days. That's a long time. So in the meantime, all that money's tied up. And you're sort of, I don't want to say stuck with that combine harvester, but right, that's really all you can do with that money is harvest crops, which you're not doing that often in seasons. So I think I want to rent. It also gives us the opportunity to play with cool equipment and mods and various other things. Whereas when you buy it, you know, you're sort of, I don't want to say stuck with it, but you know, that's it. There's really not a lot of options at that point. So I'm okay with renting equipment, and we can rent the equipment to log that forest. We can also rent. Now, if we get all those fields planted with grass, I think the Big M makes sense because our MB track at 200 horsepower is barely powerful enough to run a big set of butterfly mowers. And the Big M swaths now, and right? So there's a lot of different options, but I think logging I think that's a good way to make some money. You know, I run the loan a little too high sometimes because honestly, I don't want to say I have no intention of paying it back, but I sort of have no intention of paying it back because the game's just open-ended. But with seasons and things being a little bit more finite, I like the idea. I think I like the idea of trying to avoid that big 1.5 million euro loan that we just throw out. Because at that point, if you're not planning on paying it back, and I'm not going to like try to rip the game off, but it's like, oh, sure, I'll borrow this money. And if I don't play this save game until I pay it off, so what? So it's almost like you're cheating money in at that point. And that's not necessarily how I want to play. So let's try to keep the loan minimized. And we can sort of kill two birds with one stone. We can make money from logging that forest, and we can also open it up to plant as grass. And with the money that we make from the forest, we can buy those other fields and plant them with grass as well. And have our first silage harvest, year one, cut one, be really big and really profitable. So I think that is the direction to go in. So next episode, we might be logging. Right. Show you one other thing that I did. So Where's Byte? There it is. So I bought these two areas down here, and the reason I did that is so when our grain is stored, like we have grain right now, and when I saved grain, when I put grain in the silo in our last save game, we put canola in there and it never showed up. And the reason is, come back, the reason is the silos down here at the South Farm are not tied into the display. I think that's a limitation of the game and the code itself. I don't think that's anything the map maker did. But if you want to pick up your stored crops, you do them up here at this other silo, right, in the center of town. And my OCD doesn't like the idea that we just go here and get our crop, even though we don't own this. So I bought these two areas. We won't make any money from them, but it's just one of those things. So we're going to go here right now and sell some grain. Because there's not that much of it. We don't have pigs. We don't have cows. We don't need it for feed. Let's just sell it. Particularly the cheaper stuff that we're never going to have in there in significant enough volume that waiting for a good price would matter. So that makes sense. There's only 10,000 liters in there. So even if the price doubled, it's not a big amount of money. So let's go sell some of that. That'll give us an opportunity to explore town a little bit more. And with it being this early in the season, there's really not a lot else to do. Just take care of animals. And then we'll do a little bit of fogging. A little bit of fogging. I just said that. Oh my goodness. I really am. Something's wrong with me. I really am having a hard time speaking lately. We'll do a little bit of logging. Not farming. Logging. Fogging. Oh my goodness. We'll do a little bit of logging. God. I can't start over. We're 17 minutes in. Maybe I'll take that out in editing. Oh, man, YouTube. We'll do a little bit of logging next episode, and then I'll finish logging that forest off camera. And our goal will be to have all those trees down and sold before we can plant grass, which is on day 3 of season 1. Is that right? I gotta pause again. I gotta look. I'm curious now. Is it here? There it is. We can plant grass on day 4. Okay, so we have today and tomorrow to get that forest down, or even some of it, part of it, buy those other fields, and then we'll get those fertilized and get some grass planted. So when we do harvest grass for first cut, there's going to be a lot of it. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think that makes the most sense. We'll make money from the logs, from the fogging. We'll make money from that. We'll be able to buy the fields without taking out a loan, and then we'll make even more money from them. And I think we'll rent the Big M. When the time comes, we'll rent the Big M, and then we'll just bale and wrap as we did down south. And I think we made, what did we get? 200 bales at 2,000 euro a piece. So yeah, we made 400K down south. I don't know if we're going to make that much money up here north because the fields will be slightly smaller, but I think we can still make a couple €100,000. And keep in mind, we won't have any loan and we don't have anything to buy. So I think we're going to do just fine on this map money wise. I need to remember where my turn is. Not there, but right down here somewhere. Yeah, it's a tricky turn. And this is, I tried to get our big truck, our MAN articulated truck in here, and it was not easy. This map is a big area, but it plays like a small map. So I'm glad things worked out the way they did. I have to admit, a little bit, not 100% happy when I realized I wouldn't be able to save my save game. And technically, I could have. Oh, you know what? I went to the wrong place. I went to the sell point, not the store point. Okay, we need to go one more driveway down to actually pick up our grain. My mistake. Yeah, I was a little put off when I realized we lost the save game, which I could have kept, but it wouldn't have been right. It wouldn't have been fair to the map maker. It would not have represented their good work appropriately. It wouldn't have shown everything that they did. Oh, carefully. And also, we may have had some some glitches and crashes and weird trees and stuff like that. We don't want that. So initially I was put off, but ultimately I am super, super happy about it. And in fact, I'll tell you a little story. So I'm in an Airbnb right now. I sort of live in Airbnbs. I'm a long way from home. I'm so far from home, it's like I don't even know what having a home is like anymore. I've been on the road for a long time. That's why I'm the portable gamer. So before the Airbnb that I'm at now, which is like, it's a palace, man. I'm very, very fortunate. I'm not cocky about things like that. When I say it's a palace, I'm not bragging. I'm blown away. My life is it's just one big adventure. It never stops. So I'm very fortunate, and I don't deserve. I'm a very fortunate person. I don't deserve to be as happy as I am. I wasn't supposed to be here. I was supposed to stay at another Airbnb, and I went to get checked in, and I went to the address that was listed, and nothing was working out. And I finally, I'm texting back and forth with the guy, and he's giving me directions to another place, and it's like, wait, that's not how Airbnb works. The address that I'm going to is not the address listed in the listing, and he's a Russian guy. Thick accent. No, he's different place. Go to different place. Okay, so I go to this different place. Hang on, let's see what we're selling here. What did we say? Oh, these prices are rough. Let's sell our corn. Yeah, let's sell corn at the Baywa. No. Oh, moment. Now I'm wondering if the map maker fixed this and put it back to the southern farm. I think we're heading down south. Okay. That's the way things work out sometimes. More of an opportunity to tell you my funny story. So set the brake. We'll put the covers on. I'll hop out here. Close these doors. We'll drive down south and see if that's where our grain is. Do we have to turn anything on here? No, there's no grate. Okay. Just making sure before we drive all the way down there. So I finally find the place, and the guy lets me in, and he's showing me around, and I'm like, bro, this is not the listing. This is not. I mean, that's why the address is different. This is an entirely different place than the place that I rented through Airbnb. And he's like, oh, but these same square feet. Square feet is same. It's all good. And it's like, no, I don't think it is. I don't think it is all good. That doesn't work for me. It's just way too greasy. I don't know what's happening here, but it's freaking me out. And so I called Airbnb. They gave me a full refund, and they gave me a bunch of perks and all kinds of apologies and what have you. Okay, that's cool. And then I ended up in this place. So had that worked out, I would have been there, and I would not have been here because this place would get rented. It wouldn't be available. I mean, I never would have even seen it, most likely. So things really do work out, and they don't always work out the way we expect them to, but they do work out. So I was put off to lose our save game, but ultimately, I think I'm going to be much happier with the farm that we get to build now. We get that do-over. Wish I could have a do-over knowing now what I didn't know then. You know what I mean? That doesn't happen too often, but when it does, things work out. So I'm super pleased about this, and I see this as another opportunity. I'm sort of a Buddhist, not a very good one. I got a girlfriend, and I really like single malt whiskey. And those are not things that are typically, you know what I mean, endorsed by the Buddhist community, but what can I say? But I'm sort of a quasi-Buddhist, and that's something you hear a lot is, life just happens, and the significance of any event, positive or negative, is really how you feel about it. So initially I was put off, but now I'm super, super happy with the way things worked out. So can't wait to get into this map a little bit more. Now, I don't know what's going to happen when we get down south. If our grain is not here, our stored grain. I don't know where it is at that point. It's somewhere. It's somewhere on the map. It's possible that buying those tanks threw it off, but I know before we owned the silos down south and the grain was stored up north. I'm wondering if the map maker didn't fix that, and then when we restarted our new save game, we sold the farm down south. Who knows, man? We'll find out in a minute. But this is going to feel weird, because now, as before, right? Like, the whole reason I bought those plots of land in the center of town was because I felt really awkward just going to somebody else's grain storage and taking stuff. That's not right. And now here I am, sneaking around, right? Shady as all get out. Sneaking around, taking grain out of some cat's silo. Don't mind me. So we'll see. It might not even be here. If it's not, I don't know what we're doing at that point. Where are we at on time? 26 minutes. I think there'll be enough time for us to at least find out if it's here. And then I'll take it up to the Baywa and sell it off camera. And I'll probably make a few more trips and get rid of some of the other grain that's in there. And just clear that out. And, I don't know, make room. Get it off the books. It's bugging me. So yeah, a lot of trees and bushes that were missing that I thought the map maker had for some reason removed. It was actually me trying to port my save game over that had glitched them out. So they're back now. And yeah, really pleased with the way things worked out. Other than that, I don't see a lot that is different or moved on the map. And in fact, I teleport to, off camera, I teleport to the pig farm, because that's where the easiest button to find is to sleep, right? So I speed through the day and then I hit the sleep button to get through the night. And the place that I do that is the pig farm. And when I teleported in, it was still snowing, and it was snowing inside the pig barn, the pig shed. So I would guess that the map maker just didn't put the snow mask on there, because why would you? It's not like you're going to store bales in there. So little things like that. I know these map makers, I mean, they do this voluntarily. Some of them maybe make a little bit of money, but they essentially create these maps for us for free, and it takes a lot of time. So if a map maker saves time by not putting a snow mask under every single structure with a sliding door, I totally get that. So I don't know that much more has been done other than to, I don't want to say the basics, but the minimum requirement to get the map ready for seasons. I haven't seen a lot of other changes. And until we buy these farms again down south and find out what's going on, there's our grain. It all worked out. Okay, so we're going to fill this. There we go. Beautiful. Put the cover on. We're at 20. Yeah, let's just take this up. It's not far to the Baywa. Let's just take this up. So pull this right around here. Carefully. Right through there. Right. So brake, hop out, run around back this way. Oh. And then the other thing I'm curious about, I didn't finish my thought. The impossible to reach food down in the floor of the cow shed here at the southern farm. We won't find that until we buy this farm, and I don't know when that will be. But when we do buy it, when we do get cows in, it's over there to our left. Right there behind us now. That's the one with the tricky floor where you can't ever get the last bit of floor food. If we buy this farm at some point, feel the weight, and get cows in there, I imagine that is something the map maker did address, because I know there were a lot of comments about that I found on various threads. People were a bit frustrated by it, but I also saw a trick. Somebody said, before you buy animals, if you never want to have to clean up after your animals, before you buy animals, just put a little bit of something on the floor of the area where their floor food spawns, and their floor food will never spawn. So you can throw down some wood chips or something, just like a liter of wood chips. and there will never be any floor food. It's a hack, you know, it's a workaround. But for a shed like this one behind us in V1, where you couldn't get all the food anyway and you could never have maximum productivity for your cows in that shed, I think that's fair. But it was a big enough issue, and there's really not many problems with this map. So it's not... Come on, little Deutzfahr. I think we're 107 horsepower, so we're feeling it. There aren't many issues, and that was one of them, so I would have to think that the map maker would have addressed that. I personally, I mean, the reason I started using the animal helper was because it's just so hard to get any type of implement into that shed to get that floor food picked up. And I'm curious, I want to say maybe there was one for 17, but a manual shovel where you can go in and like essentially muck out your cows with a pitchfork rather than doing it with the tractor or a skid steer loader or what have you. But you could just do it manually. I want to say there was like a pitchfork and a wheelbarrow, maybe, but I think it was the wheelbarrow that was like the operative function. Like the wheelbarrow had the script. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was German. Man, check out Hofbergman if you want to see scripts. There's like a butter factory or a cheese factory or something. You have to like drive around this little milk tank. It's like a 55-gallon drum on wheels, and you get in it and drive it around and put like enzymes in it or something, or whey. Oh, something. So you can script anything. And I want to say for 17, somebody scripted a wheelbarrow that you could use to manually muck out. I don't know. I could be misremembering, but regardless, that would be perfect for a situation like that where you just can't get an implement in there, can't get a tractor in. So, right, we'll get this stuff sold. I think we're only going to get a few €1,000 for it, but, you know, a few €1,000 is a few €1,000. And we have no loan at the moment, and as I said when we started the episode, I will make an effort every episode to just show you the books, and more than anything else, I'm just keeping myself accountable. I know you're probably not going to take the time to, like, pause that screen and sit down with a calculator and see if old ill will is on the level, but you have the option to do that if you want to. So I'm just so looking forward to this, and we're getting into fall a little bit where I am. It's still quite warm. It's still 85 and 90 degrees during the days. I'm in the American South at the moment. Oh, here we go. I'm in the American South, and it's very it's still very warm and muggy, but it's getting cooler. And we're getting into autumn. And Farm Sim, for some reason, even though farming is primarily a summertime activity, Farm Sim always makes me think of autumn for some reason. I feel like certain games have certain associations for me. Farm Sim and Euro Truck are autumn. American Truck and Racing are primarily summer. And then The Division is like deepest, darkest winter. I played that game in January and February last year. And I don't know, man. I think because the game takes place in the winter and it's very dark and gloomy and ominous, and it doesn't really get cold and snowy in the American South in the winter. It just gets sort of dark and gloomy and ominous. I think Division will forever be linked to wintertime for me. So, yeah, getting into fall, it's going to be fun to play this map. It really is. I am definitely looking forward to it. Alright, so we'll go through here. You know, I can also tell you, I don't anticipate being being back in Derry for quite a while. But the trigger for this milk tank up here, driving off the road. The trigger for this milk tank up here was incredibly small in V1. So I'm curious if it is as small in V2. I'll tell you what, let's come in the other way, because I think, seeing where the sun is, I think this could be our screenshot. Yeah, it just might be. So let's time this just right. So we're going to get this right here. Right? We're going to set the brake. we're going to turn the HUD off. You ready? We're going to do this all at once. We're going to tip. We're going to come out here. All right. There you go. Folks, thanks for stopping back to check out the portable game, and thanks for joining us for another episode of Farming Simulator 19. This is the Geiselsberg map. We'll see you next time. Take care now.